players, as I see in chat, rundowners, and watchers of the time stream. Another Tuesday and another awesome Dungeon Run recap. Did you peep the remix to our theme song? I feel like every week it gets bigger and better, right? Thank you to everyone who is in chat today. I see Mace of Cuthbert, Shady Sheba, PH Mike 5. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Make sure that you stay with me, your host, Trisha Hershberger, as I get you the scoop straight from some of the game's fun and fearless players. Caffeine is the coolest, newest live streaming platform to get your weekly dose of Dungeons, Dragons, and all the conversation therein connected. In studio to talk all things bingle, sweet one-legged grandmas, and creepy monsters, welcome Katy Michels, our beloved Lily. Yay! Hi! And Ron Ogden, who plays our favorite three-quarter orc, Uggo. Welcome!
Hi.
Hi, we are so very happy to have you both here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, to discuss episode 14, which was crazy.
It was so crazy.
Yes, it was indeed insane.
Right? Okay, well, to get everybody warmed up, I have a quick game that I would like to play with you guys, if you're down.
Sure.
Yeah, love
Sound
games.
good? Okay, great. During the live stream of episode 14, viewers went crazy gifting adventurers with lots of Force of Good and Force of Evil cards.
Yeah.
So I would like to test your creativity to see how you guys do on the other side of the amulet, so to speak. So I will give you a description of a hypothetical Force of Good or Evil, and you guys have to give it a clever title.
Okay, great.
Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Great.
Your character can eat this magical bag of spicy snack food, giving them the ability to use their bad breath and indigestion to fight their way through combat. What would you call this force?
Ooh, hot Cheeto flame.
That's flamin' Cheeto breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dragon Cheeto breath.
Oh, what? But like,
Cheeto dragon
what's
breath?
a Cheeto? Cheeto's not a thing. Like what?
Cheeto dragon. I want a Cheeto dragon.
Ooh, Cheeto Dragon's cool.
Cheeto dragon. Cheeto dragon.
That's funny. I see
sounds
that's a spicy meatball from Sir
Oh,
Gage.
that's a good
Really great
one.
one.
PH Mike 5 says nacho breath. So
Yeah,
good.
That's really good. That's really good.
So very, very
That's a
good.
Spicy meatball.
That's a meatball.
Fat Papa Power says Don Cheetle Dragon.
Oh.
Really
wow.
good.
Okay. All right.
He
So
might get offended that means he has bad breath.
that's
So-
true. That's true. And Key Smith says Takis Dragon.
Oh, hot Cheetos and
yeah.
Takis.
Yeah.
Hot Cheeto breath and
True
Takis.
story. I've never had a Taki in my life.
Me neither.
Cool.
You
Great.
neither.
Wow. We're all
Okay,
three of us.
I know what
Great.
we're doing next episode of Dungeon Rundown that we're all three on. We're getting some Takis and trying Takis.
Oh,
obviously.
my gosh, yes.
All right.
I love all food, so I'm in.
Perfect. Okay.
all food.
And here is the next one for you guys. Your character can use this pouch of enchanted rubber bands and a ripe watermelon to slow enemies. Via pressure, you'll use seeds and pulp to attack as you continue your march across Bengal. What would you like to call this force?
Wait, so you're flinging watermelon seeds with rubber bands? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interpret as you will.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it the Gallagher.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that
That's
is
really
good.
good.
Call
I was gonna call it boom snap.
Boom snap,
Yeah.
because boom,
Boom snap.
and then snap.
Boom snap.
I like it.
Boom snap.
Let's see. The watery melon bomb says
that's good.
Zabin the Cyndaquil. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Melon bowler from Nerdy Bales. Thank you, Nerdy Bales.
Oh, Nerdy Bales.
Oh no, my melon seeds. Says Fat
yeah.
Lizard 22.
How about
Which
like
is
seated?
also great.
You've been seated.
You've been seated is
know.
great too.
That also sounds like you've been seated.
So stand up, everybody, and make your voice heard. Comment tonight with your favorite moments from last week's episode, and maybe Katy and Ron will get to answer some of your questions live on the show. Now, while we keep spinning wacky force ideas, take a few moments to get caught up with some of the best moments from last week's episode. Take a look at this.
I'm about ready to do something incredibly stupid. I hope you can heal me afterwards.
Okay.
And then
At least
I'm
you're
going
honest
to...
with yourself about what you're doing.
So what's the problem?
It scares me.
Why?
Because it should. Just like it should scare you.
It doesn't scare me, Uggo. You
are
don't
an
scare
idiot.
me. Watch this. I'm gonna punch him in the shoulder. Ha! You don't scare me. You never will. Because you know what? You've got the biggest heart I've ever seen.
Anything.
Sorry that I hit you.
You feel better?
I really thought I'd miss you. I didn't know what I did do. But now I want to heal you.
Whoa!
Wow.
I have magic.
Hey, friend. That was pretty good.
Grammy gets up and grabs your arm, and she's got this cool peg leg, an iron peg leg, and you hear it like
Like tap dancing.
tink, 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 tink on the ground. It is just happy scene.
James, do you want to dance?
Perfect robot.
James
Wow.
somehow starts dancing like that, and then drops on his back and does a backspin. Literally, all the double stucks just stop and look at him, and there's like
Misty step to like.
your mage hand is like behind you, like doing this to the crowd.
I deem you worthy of my attention, worthy of my darkness, worthy of my power. I have plans for you.
All right, you guys, you can look again. I will personally vouch for the fact that at the end of that recap package, Katy and Ron were both holding their ears and shutting their eyes and doing anything they could to distract themselves from watching the secret scene. I feel like those of us who watched last week's episode and love last week's episode, you can kind of divide it into two parts. There was the battle part, which was super intense, and then we all got that release of the bingo party, which was just so awesome. Katy and Ron, what were some of the biggest moments of last week's episode for your characters?
I mean, you had that big one with Behemoth.
There was a couple. And just to be honest, while I was watching all that, I'm getting teary-eyed. Like, it's one thing I can say and be honest with here is that I have never done work like this before, and I am so proud of everyone who works on this thing and everyone who comes to play with Uggo, because it gives me a chance to do and show things that I have been wanting to do for a long time, and show that even sometimes those who are defined as monsters can have huge hearts.
Most definitely. Dipagasi in chat, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, says, love it when Fahima punched Uggo. It was such a good moment between the two of you, and to be able to see that side of Uggo. And I feel like, especially in this last episode, Uggo kind of goes to some dark places that I saw. I'm sorry, I didn't catch who it was in chat, had said, need Uggo's backstory now. Like, we're getting colors of it. I mean, there was a lot of darkness in this episode, obviously, for James.
Right.
But I feel like Uggo really went there this time too.
Yeah, and Uggo is not quiet about his past being dark, and we've seen a little bit of his, hints of that in his response to orcs when we've run into them before. And that, and even in that episode, being able to use a force of, good card to tell James that he's not alone, that he isn't the only one suffering with darkness, because Uggo's the one who also pays attention. He can see, for whatever reason, I get the perception checks where I get to see that James is the one who's bringing these dark things, and it doesn't scare Uggo. But Uggo's honest about it. Why are you not, James? That's kind of where I think the source of it comes from. It's like, there's nothing wrong with darkness. We've all got bits and pieces of it in varying shapes and forms. It's when you hide it and aren't honest with yourself about it that is dangerous.
And that's such a good message to give to James in these moments. Right? Katy, what was
deal with your darkness?
A big important moment for Lily in this episode?
Oh my gosh, I mean, the whole episode. Well, Bingle is saved for now, which was huge. So, I mean, honestly, I do get scared going into all of the battles that we've gone into. We get these forces of good and we get these forces of evil, but it's still scary. Like, there's been many times where we've been very close to dying and we're still very squishy. And maybe not you.
Not anymore. No, yeah, getting there.
I mean, when I got stuck the previous episode, I couldn't even move my feet because of a force of evil. So I was nervous, but then I was very happy that we triumphed. And I think a big moment for Lily was having Grammy Doublestack has always supported her, but having her dad be like, I see now why you need to go out and adventure. Not that she needed his permission, but you always want the blessing of your family to do what you want to do. And I think that was really important that Jeff sprinkled that in, knowing that was important to Lily, I think. And it was really great for him to be like, yes, we see you, we see what you're doing, go out there. So she doesn't feel obligated to stay on Bingle, because I think that is a hard thing to leave your family who's been, half of them have been murdered. You know?
Yeah, it's been a huge story arc for Lily to have left Bingle, maybe with only Grandma's support.
Yeah, Mom and Dad were not, I don't want to say they shunned me, but they were, they wanted me to stay there.
Sure, yeah, of course. And then going off to learn all these new skills and make these friends and go on these adventures, to then come back and be confronted with the fact that half your family was murdered.
Yes.
And then save them. And then, yes, I think anyone in that situation would feel like, okay, I made my mistake. I have to stay here now. So to have that blessing must have been huge.
Huge. And also I think it was good for Lily to have confidence in, Bingle is so isolated. It's an island town. It's been very safe. It's very idyllic. Or it usually is. You didn't see it in its
I did not.
Okay,
No,
I promise I'll go. It's nice.
Yeah.
I promise it's not the normal Bingle you saw.
Well, the party we saw
the
was
party,
reminiscent.
and that's even that's we threw it together.
I like how she's apologizing to the orc. It's like, this better than cave. There are no mushrooms around, nothing trying to kill me. That's okay.
I don't say Lily was embarrassed, but she wanted you guys to see Bingle in its glory days, not this way. But yeah, so I think, I don't know, all of it was so great. But I also think it was important for her to see her family be part of this battle, and her to know okay, they've seen the evil that is in this world, and they handled it, and Grammy was so awesome with how she handled it, and I think it gives Lily confidence, knowing that they're okay with her going out, but confidence in they know what can happen.
Right.
And them having that awareness, and her feeling like her family is prepared in that way. They're not in this little bubble as much anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's super important for motivation for Lily. And I mean, for me, episode 14 really highlighted the complexities of the relationships of everyone within the party. From James and Uggo teaming up to fight the crab, to Civ basically sacrificing himself to save Bingle, which was nuts. The adventurers, I feel like more and more each episode have each other's backs.
Yes.
You two were incredibly trusting from the beginning, but we've seen from other players that it's taken a bit of time, and maybe they wouldn't sacrifice everything for each other. But now, especially in the battle for Bingle, I feel like we've seen this happen more than before. So why do you two think that the adventurers are putting themselves in harm's way, maybe now, for each other, whereas they weren't before? I don't know. Or do you not see it that way? Do you feel like they always were that way?
I mean, I can only talk of Uggo, really.
And I'll talk for everyone else.
And for, Uggo started off as there's something to prove.
Right.
In his own mind, he's got a lot more to prove on first meeting than others. But it's also early on, Uggo realized you guys are all very young. You don't really know many things. Right. And so for Uggo, that means, okay, so I have to be the one who is confident and strong and be the one that take the damage, so that maybe they can also help find their own courage in seeing that something lower than them is capable of doing it.
So Uggo's really concerned about everybody else's kind of first impression.
Absolutely, of course. Yeah. I think, and Uggo isn't very intelligent. And so there's a lot of things that come with that.
Stop saying that.
It's just honesty. It's just, I have a low intelligence score. Okay? Wise
Wisdom.
orc, very wise orc, just not the smartest tool in the shed. And so there's some things where he's going to respond in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense to people right off the bat.
Sure.
Or, fear. There's even sometimes where Uggo's like, normally, let's go in there. And he's like, oh, we should probably run right now.
Yeah.
Like, why? Because that was the first thing that popped into his head and he doesn't have a filter.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Filter free.
And
Yes.
Katy?
Well, I mean, I was joking about talking to everyone else, but I'm going to give my theory on why I think.
Sure.
I think it's, for me, it's people, or us as a group, because really, it's been 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks that we've really been together. It's a short period of time, but we have gone through some pretty big conflicts right off the bat. And I think now, at least for me, the confidence going in is, okay, I know how Uggo can impact this and how Fahima can do this and like what Siv's kind of how his style is. And so I think that confidence of how we all work as a group.
Yeah.
It's like we've had all these rehearsals now.
Yeah.
And now we have more confidence going into battle because we kind of know like battle mode, what our battle mode is. Like I feel like Lily's more confident of like, okay, I know how I can help in this fight. I'm not going to be able to get up there and punch anyone and do any damage, but I can mock them, like and Siv knows that I'm going to do that and Uggo knows that I'm going to do that and they know what I'm working on. So we all kind of have our jobs now a little bit.
And I want to point out, because people who say, oh, they've only been around for 2 weeks now as a group, like, yes, but I don't know about you, but if someone almost died and I was there and I helped save that person, we're intimate now.
Right.
Right? Straight up. We are now bonded like we have never been bonded before because this person almost died in front of me and we together made sure they didn't die.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't, logically, I get it. Yeah, 2 weeks, long time, need more time to get together. But if you help save someone's life in that way, you're gonna be bonded quickly.
Yeah, as far as battle goes, we've had a lot of big, like honestly, we're younger in our like interpersonal relationships than we are in our battle relationships because like, or combat, because we've done a lot of impactful things and we've kind of been focused on that. And then sometimes when we have that time to talk, we're like, hey, I know nothing about you.
And we're also in fever dreams, we have fever dreams of giant wardens and we have these, an amulet that's spitting out chaos all the time.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be that for that kind of fragility and like, what is going on right now? Because any of us would be that way if it was happening in real life, right? If you're getting down to it, if I had a magic amulet around me and all of a sudden while we're sitting here, it's just like, and now a chicken is here and you get to eat it. And it's like,
Ta-da!
what?
And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad.
And sometimes it's bad. Like, yeah, exactly. Then we'd all be like, what?
Yeah. When you go through something that big with other people, I think that totally can cause all sorts of very complicated relationships very quickly.
Yes.
And chat is talking all about that. So one of the fun parts of Dungeon Rundown is seeing what you guys think. So I'm gonna go into some of our audience questions for you.
For sure.
Purple Dragon asks, how do your characters view those of other players? So some of the other players that maybe aren't seated here tonight on Dungeon Rundown, do you have anything that your character specifically thinks about any of them? Are they trustworthy, not trustworthy? Do you particularly like their sense of humor? Go, indulge us.
Yeah, that's a great question, Purple Dragon. I think at this point, I don't not trust anyone. Lily's pretty trusting as a person. I think Uggo and Lily bonded immediately because we're both very like upfront with this is how I feel in this moment, and
is happening?
This is what's happening. We're both like bad liars, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I don't feel like anyone is sneaking around. Though Lily last week Uggo came and talked to her about the whole James situation, and it was vague, but I think she's realizing like, okay, maybe I need to be aware. Like I know James has secrets, and I was just Lily was respectful of that.
Sure.
It didn't seem nefarious in any way, but Lily's a young adventurer. This is like 2 weeks with you guys, but also 2 weeks ever being outside of Bingle. So I think learning like, okay, I see that color that I need to be aware of. And I love Fahima. I think Lily like adores how Fahima treats monsters and her interaction with them. And I'm so thankful that we came up with like a safe word.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that. Absolutely.
It makes me feel like that's handled, you know, like she
Right.
knows what to say to be comfortable in that position, because yeah. And then Lily loves both Siv and Uggo very much. Yeah.
Uggo is distrustful of most everyone
Except for Lily.
because Lily on first meeting was honest
Okay.
immediately.
Okay.
He hasn't found that in anyone else they've met other than Grammy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Old Pal. And so, I mean, as far as Uggo's concerned,
He's like
gnomes
Bingle.
are the most honest creatures you'll ever meet in your entire life.
Yeah, you just need to move to Bingle, I think.
Like, would be a great side act, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I am sure. You know, I always struggle with this, as we talked about before, Katie. I struggle with saying like what Uggo feels
I know, it's hard,
outside
it's
of
hard,
the
it's
game
hard.
because I'm so much of the hardcore mindset of take it and play and like, oh, you know, just be in play. But then we'd have nothing to talk about. So I'm comfortable with this question. So for me, it's bonds well with everyone and has connections. And I think, not surprisingly, Uggo connects stronger with the women of the group than he does with the men of the group.
Okay.
And I think that's because they're more open and curious about what Uggo is, rather than we have to be necessarily protective of one, you know, protective of, oh, well, I have my own thing and you have your thing.
Yeah.
And like James specifically.
Uh-huh.
And Siv, Uggo is, I think Uggo is a little unsure, because at first they were very close and buddy-buddy. At the very beginning, like in the cave when Uggo went for a swim and almost drowned, you know, Siv and him got to sit in a pool and is the only one who's seen
That was
Uggo's-
a pre-episode, by the way. You didn't miss
Yes,
anything.
I did. That's right.
No,
That's right. We
no.
did
I'm
never
just letting
shoot those
people know
things.
so they're like,
So in the pre-episode,
In episode 0.
yeah, in episode 0,
just want
Uggo,
people to be like,
for
I
the
missed
first
something.
time, almost drowned.
Yeah.
In a cave, and Siv and Uggo got a long time.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was looking around and trying to figure out how to help us, where we got to just interact and talk about lives and like why we're here and what's going on. And Uggo shared very early on with Siv the torn standard that he keeps in his pack, that he hasn't even shown really Lily. Has had it out, but never really discussed it and been open about what's going on. So, you know, I think as an orc, he has learned that I should probably not trust anything or anyone.
So was there something that happened after that Siv bonding moment that made you feel like I
Not
gotta...
that Uggo knows.
Okay,
It's not an Uggo thing.
Okay.
Uggo is still like, you know, happy. Siv, yeah, drinks. Yeah, have a good time. Battle brother, yeah.
Right.
But not, Uggo's not smart, but he sees around the other things.
Okay.
And I think Siv sometimes is not the wisest, very intelligent. But like, so for example, what Siv did in the Battle of Bingle, dumbest thing you could do. You have better ways to handle things. Why put yourself in danger just so you can be special?
Yeah. Okay, I love it. All right, well, everyone at home, please keep those comments coming with plenty of live streaming conversations ahead of us in the Dungeon Rundown tonight. You've got to get in on this. So while you think of your next witty comment or question for me to read aloud on the show, please get some inspiration from looking at this.
Friend walks up to you, looks up at you, and goes,
Uggo, almost on a dime, just looks around very confused and then pretends that she hurt him. Probably not very convincingly. Yeah, not convincing at all. I rolled a 2, so. Oh! You beat monster! Oh!
It doesn't fool any of you, but Prim's eating it up. Her DC is about at 0.
On an insight check. And Uggo even like falls at her feet and just goes.
I'll go, Prim.
She looks
Well
at him.
done, Prim. Well done.
Now you have to heal him.
How do I do it?
Put your hands on him and sing him a little song.
Uggo got one eye open.
Anything you want.
Sorry that I hit you.
You feel better?
I really thought I'd miss you. I didn't know what I did do. But now I want to heal you.
Whoa!
Wow.
I have magic? Really?
That was pretty good.
Oh, man.
So much Prim love in chat right now.
I also completely forgot to apologize to Jeff because I made him sing a song. Like, I was like, now you gotta sing a song, because that's what I would do. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I just made Jeff make up a song on the spot.
I don't think you need to apologize. I think everyone that watched the show loved that moment. I'm seeing so many Board Game Corner says LOL so good. AJ Lightning says Prim is so amazing.
Oh,
so this was a big hearts everywhere moment for a lot of viewers.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Jeff becoming Prim, like as much as viewers love the action from our Dungeons and Dragons game, there's no denying how enjoyable it is to watch Jeff actually act out and become these NPC characters that we encounter on the journey. I mean, this episode we saw him morph into, let's see, remorseful sea creatures, wide range of monsters, and Lily's sweet grandma, plus Prim. Week to week, how much do you just love watching what Jeff comes up with?
It's mind-blowing. Honestly, it's mind-blowing. And like, it's mind-blowing how he keeps the voices straight. I know, like,
Yes.
like we're actors, we do that, but like he is a master of changing between these voices. They're also distinct and different, and that's hard to do. And he even like embodies them. He like has his little embodiments for all of the characters, and it's every week it's impressive. Every single week.
Yep, and Ron, I know you DM too.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's tricky to keep all your NPC voices straight?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to have difficulty with that, I think, just because it's so many you're juggling so many balls at once.
Yeah.
I'm okay at it. Jeff is a master, and it's been really cool to experience that firsthand. And if you catch it sometimes, I don't know if the actual cameras ever catch it, but there's a little game usually Jeff and Civ and I have, which is who can get who to laugh in certain moments.
Oh, wait, no, tell us more about this. This is a Dungeon Rundown exclusive.
It's not really anything we've ever talked about openly. It's just always been that like, I got you, yeah. And so for me, there's always a little bit of like, all right, because for me, if we're having fun, we're doing good work.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Yes.
If actors are having and crew are enjoying themselves, then the work is easy. Right,
Yeah.
and it's good then. So in that moment, I find that we're having fun. And when that's the case, like there's sometimes you hear, especially if Uggo says something that's just kind of off the wall, I'll hear Jeff go to himself, that just caught him off guard. Mm-hmm. And for me, that becomes the challenge. Like that's the game. The game for me is that.
Yep, and Sean Patrick in chat says, speaking of laughing, who out of the players chuckled when Grammy asked Lily about that flute?
Oh my gosh.
Everybody,
All of
right?
us.
Yeah.
Everybody
All of
lost
us.
it.
Yeah.
Did either of you see that twist coming at all, or was that
No.
a
No.
surprise to you?
That was
as well?
also a
Surprise
surprise.
to me. Surprise to me that my
Yep.
family had a big box of flutes flying around.
They're just like gift shop flutes,
Yeah.
and you were so worried about it.
Well, it's a specific one that she gave me,
Yep.
but nope.
And Uggo's the one who's going on.
I know. Yeah, he actually, in the first one I went to start to go tell him, and Ron Uggo was like, not now, we don't have time.
Not the time.
I was like, right,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But it worked out perfectly. And speaking of Jeff having so many characters, I like this question from PH Mike 5 in chat. It says, do you both have backup characters just in case?
No backup. I have no backup plan.
You have no backup plan?
No.
I do. I have backup plans.
You do have backup
I always
plans.
have backup plans.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really talked to Jeff about how that would work should a character die mid-adventure. If you would just be like, and in comes, and whip out a new character sheet, or if you'd set the rest out. So that remains to be seen should it ever happen.
I should, I guess, have a backup.
I'm
very susceptible to dying, but.
One of my favorite backup characters is a deep gnome. Mm-hmm. And deep gnomes are very Germanic.
Yeah.
So he talks with a German accent. Yeah, we go into the cave and do the thing.
I'll just play that if I die.
You can be that one, absolutely.
We go into the cave.
See, she can do it. It's great.
Yes, okay.
It's very
What
easy.
is your name, Uggo?
No, it's not Uggo. It's Swift Niblin.
Wait, you also sound like me Yeah, we from the same place.
We are. That's so weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both, hello. Who else is in this party?
He likes his schnitzel. I do.
I would watch the show. Fat Papa Power asks, what advice do Katy and Ron have for new players of the game? How many of our viewers have not played?
Yes.
Great question.
It's a great one. You're the new player.
I'm the babe.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
I think the advice is find a bunch of strangers that you just magically get along with. No, I think I kind of talked about this last time, but I really do think it is about finding like-minded people.
Yes.
So having a, like Jeff is a very positive storyteller. He tells a story with a lot of heart, and we have very different characters, but we have a lot of similar sensibilities as people, and I think that helps our communication and our listening at the table, because it really is, I think it's all about listening and responding and reacting and feeling comfortable with the people that you're playing with is huge.
Well, it helps that you're all actors because you can yes and each other in a story, which for those of you watching, that's a term that improv actors use to say, I accept your idea and now I will build upon it. And it makes for wonderful storytelling.
Absolutely, and it helps you raise the stakes in storytellings as well, which is, and what I love about especially 5e, is it talks about this yes-anding as a group.
Yeah.
So like, my advice to new players is, I DM on my own, and one of the campaigns I run is mostly newbies. It's only one of them that isn't besides myself. And the biggest thing that I've heard from new players that they worry about is the role play. That's what keeps them from playing. And you can work up to that. You don't even have to if you don't want to.
Okay.
D&D is about your imagination and turning storytelling into a game.
Yeah.
And I think that is why it's so popular and so strong, because we've been telling stories since the dawn of man. It's literally what we do all day long, every day. We tell our own story. That's what we're doing. So now we're like, well, now let's just make a game out of it and have fun with it too. And so I think that's what, if we can all remember that, old, new player, you will be a better D&D consumer and player when you're that way. Because then you'll realize that this is just, we're trying to have a good time and tell a story together.
Yeah, and you can't be selfish. You just got to listen and communicate. I also think, I think the reason I feel so comfortable being at that table is because I did improv for so long.
Yes.
And so, like, I am new to D&D, but where I'm very confident is the storytelling aspect, and then the math and the rules and that stuff is sometimes scary to me, but I'm sitting around very accomplished players, and so I'm confident in the storytelling, and that stuff I can learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
You got that part.
Oh,
They'll
yeah,
help
for
you
sure.
with that.
I think another advice would take an improv class, because if that's something that I do hear that a lot of people saying, and you don't have to, but that is the thing I hear. Yeah, for life in general.
In life in general, I am 100%. I will be one of those individuals who tells you that had I not taken improv and learned how to improvise, I may not be here. That's how it impacted my life.
Yeah.
It made my life that much better.
It's
It
huge.
really helped me. It's a variety of things help with that, but it's a form of therapy in a way.
It is. Well, and I personally, I'm someone that likes to have control of a lot of things in my life. So taking improv for me was a very nice way to kind of relinquish some of that control and go with the throw. It's good for everyone, including your D&D.
Yeah.
And this question kind of builds on that. From Nate97497 says, Lily specifically, but Ron and Uggo as well, show such great emotion. Where do you learn to do that?
Years of acting. really, I wish there was but okay, I will say this, just to be fair, because I don't want anyone to think like, oh, I'm a new player, but I've also been in theater since I was 7. So just to be fair with that. But truly, it's easy on this show because Jeff is such a good storyteller and everyone at the table is very connected and listening. And I think it comes back to, if you have a table of people who are listening to each other and able to be in the moment and be honest in the moment and not make a joke when it gets uncomfortable, but stay in that moment, you will, and let the emotions happen. That's how you learn to do it. You don't push them down, you let them happen and lean into it. And that's super vulnerable, and I think that can be scary depending on your table.
Yep.
Who you're, so again, it comes back to playing with people you feel really comfortable with and a table that feels really safe, so that you can do that. So you can cry when it feels right, or even if it feels silly that you're crying right then, but the story has hit you in that way.
I think it is my opinion that DMs are like the best DMs are like great directors, which is they put you in an environment where it's completely safe for you to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's how you get emotion. When I get on the stage, I'm never worried about if I cry right now, who's gonna judge me?
Right.
Never worried about that. If I went outside or met somebody who watches the show person to person, I might still cry because I'm that kind of person. But it's gonna be a lot harder for me to do that, right? Because I've got walls up there. When I'm sitting at this table next to her, next to James, across from Jeff, I don't have walls.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing my job if I have walls. And
Yeah.
I like to do my job well.
That's so important.
So I try to break down those walls and let this be, like she said, live in the moment, be vulnerable, be honest with what's going on.
Yeah, but I do think it is a thing that takes practice.
Yes.
Being vulnerable, it
course.
sounds so crazy, but it takes
Yep.
practice to be vulnerable. And so,
I learned that growing up.
yeah, I mean,
Growing up, you learn that from your parents. Like, this is hard. This isn't easy to be vulnerable. Even amongst somebody who birthed me, it's hard to be vulnerable sometimes.
we all have walls up.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I actually know a lot of players right now who will check in with each other before they sit down to a table and say, what are your limits? Because if we're in the moment and things get emotional, like I don't want to go too far. And so it is important to have that safe space. And
Yep.
I agree, Jeff does a really great job creating that for you folks.
Really does.
All right, so watchers of the time stream, the time is now to leave your comments and questions in chat. Make sure that you get in on the conversation by posting your thoughts and also hitting that share button. Maybe share this, and who knows, Ron and Katy could answer you and answer your questions here. I saw earlier, Dyson Capes kind of started hey, the Dungeon Run, I shared your broadcast in chat, so I appreciate everyone that posted and shared today. Thank you guys so much. With all the wonderful moments from last week's live stream of Dungeon Run, we have to make sure that we keep them fresh in your mind leading into tomorrow night, so take a few moments to watch this.
People are bringing in a lyre and start playing. I mean, it is a jovial, jaunty scene.
Yeah, I'll dance with everybody in all the dumb stuff.
You are. Grammy gets up and grabs your arm, and she's got this cool peg leg, an iron peg leg, and you hear it like
Like tap dancing.
tink, 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 tink on the ground. It is just happy scene.
James, do you want to dance?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do it, James.
I'll try.
I figure I'm dancing like a fire genasi would, kind of like flickering and stuff.
Yeah.
How do you dance?
You got some mom
Very
fingers.
awkward.
Yeah, your hair is
You do
sparkling.
the-
and
like,
sparkling.
Most of it is like me trying not to get burned by you, so it's probably like.
Can you demonstrate your dance move?
Certainly. Well, here, let me.
I do.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to do a performance check. He nat 20 that bad boy. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome.
All right, fine.
Perfect robot.
James
Wow!
somehow starts dancing like that, and then drops on his back and does a backspin.
Now Lily is sitting next to Pranago, but at James, and is like,
He's
idea.
that dude at the wedding.
I can't believe that happened.
Who brought that guy? This guy's a ringer.
Doing the caterpillar on the ground.
and he also.
The worm, thank
Wow.
you.
Is he-
I can't dance.
Is he doing the Carlton? Wow. Yeah. He's like, wow. I couldn't possibly.
Inside.
Oh, man.
So good. I think, let's see who it was. It was Son of Joxer, said it best in chat, saying, best nat 20 ever. That was
Truly.
hilarious.
Yes.
Absolutely hilarious. Swift asks, did you guys expect James's dance moves to be so sick?
No, honestly, I didn't know the human body could move that way.
Yeah, I'll go
very
surprised.
Yeah, that was new.
Yeah.
The jolting, the hand.
I really think
Shocking.
that scene goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is when people are having fun, the story gets good.
Yeah.
And that was just us having a great time.
Having so much fun. Yeah, I heard people in chat saying he's doing the robot
The robot, yeah.
to bring it all around.
Wait, what's a robot?
Does Uggo have any sweet dance moves?
Other than bathing in the blood of his enemies,
That's what that is.
I mean, that's a move.
Showstopper.
I think we're gonna have to get Uggo drunk enough in a tavern to find that out. I think there's got to be a good reason. Not that
saving my hometown.
Saving hometown wasn't a good reason. He just had some other things on his mind,
Yep, Squiggly says the stash from a few episodes ago was enough to let me know that he has the moves. Squiggly was totally ready for that.
I was into it. Yeah.
So much fun. So this episode, our party had some really fun times, also some really emotional moments. Uggo got some quality time in with Fahima there. Did it change your impression or did it change Uggo's impression of Fahima?
Oh, absolutely, of course.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Besides Lily, this is the first individual who has said, no, Uggo, you are not the monster you say you are, and here's how I'm gonna show you that you're not, right? That's the first time that Uggo has gotten somebody, other than Lily, obviously, in her own way, but someone outside of that who he can recognize, and because in Uggo's mind, Fahima is a monster. He's been told she's part of a genie. Like for him, I've never seen one. That's a monster.
Sure.
So for him, that's to see that come from her. That's bonding. That's brother sister bonding kind of stuff. Where, oh, you have fire in you too. You're not the only one who gets angry at things. You just get angry in a different way than I do. So that was a really wonderful moment to have with Miss Parson. And I really enjoyed it.
Miss Parson, so formal.
Sorry,
well,
I like
apologize.
it. No, I love it.
Well, and we loved seeing that side of Uggo and that come out because, kind of as I mentioned earlier, Uggo went to some dark places. So when you smeared blood on your face, kind of all that other stuff, and even had a secret moment over there with James for a hot second, which we're not going to expound upon. But there were a lot of things that you were like, man, Uggo went real dark all of a sudden. And I think up until this point in the story, a lot of viewers are enjoying seeing Uggo be the big-hearted, I look scary, but I'm really a big sweetheart moment. So that was a nice juxtaposition to see there. Is there any other kind of backstory or maybe what made that come out of Uggo in this specific episode, in this circumstance?
Yeah, that's the part. You
don't want to share?
Yeah, I've been real hush-hush on the backstory because I want that to be a surprise.
Perfect.
If we ever even get there.
Okay.
But it's, I will say that I think that's what makes Uggo different than other orcs, is that other orcs, and now Jeff's orcs aren't like we know typical orcs. They're not as Lord of the Ring as orcs are typically displayed. I think in Jeff's world, the way it works, in Ain, there are certain orcs that are like that, but those are unsuccessful orcs. Those aren't orcs that, that kind of behavior doesn't accommodate well in society. So I think Uggo comes from that kind of orc background.
Yeah.
And so that's where Uggo differs from the orcs that he's normally from, which is, I might have darkness, but that's the source of making sure that doesn't exist in the world anymore.
Sure.
The portal to prevent it from occurring anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Being that yoke, right? Like I'm the one who takes half damage from things. I'll carry the emotional baggage. The rest of you enjoy and have your party.
Are you calling me the emotional baggage?
No. See, this is why people think we're fighting.
Well, you pointed to the saddle.
So the whole time we're watching these things, she's like, man, I was a jerk last week. So it didn't stop last week, did it? It's still being a jerk to me.
Well, I made James dance and I made Jeff sing.
Yep.
And still somehow, I don't know that any of our viewers would be like, man, Lily was a real jerk this episode. I don't think that would ever happen.
You would say that, but there are a couple people who think that Katy and I are in constant
fighting,
which I think is hilarious because Katy and I are so alike. She loves food. I love food.
Like we have so much in common.
We have so much in common.
Both like food.
We both stuff our faces with nuts while we're playing the game.
We do. We both are on this show.
We're both on this show. Yeah, that's about it. That's the extent of it.
Well, but I mean, I think your relationship as players comes through in the game too. Lily and Uggo's relationship is one that has been so solid, starting way back at the beginning of the campaign. And I think I'm probably not alone when I say I'm one of the people who, when I watched this last episode, and Ron, you said Uggo's going to go to Lily's room, I was like, because it could have been real awkward. We didn't know what was going to happen there. But I love those moments.
Yeah.
So thank you for having that moment. And let me say, Katy, what was your reaction when that scene started?
When Uggo came over?
Yeah.
Well, Katy and Lily had different reactions because Lily, to be clear, has not translated this poem that Uggo has given her.
Oh, got it.
So
the Orcish poem.
The Orcish poem is like, she was like, oh, it's a nice Orcish poem, you know?
Might have been the point. Might have been why I'll go put half of it in Orc. Yeah.
Yeah, so she hasn't done that. There really hasn't been time for her to do that. So Katy wasn't sure what was gonna happen in that moment, but Lily was like, just figured Uggo was coming to chat.
Yeah.
And I think Uggo and Lily are pretty in tune with each other in the sense of like, I can tell when something is off with him, even if I don't point it out all the time, because we just were fast friends when we met.
Yeah.
Because we're both so honest, both two very upfront characters about here's how we feel.
Yeah.
So I do think, I think Lily assumes if Uggo comes to her room, it's like to chat something out. Because she knows Uggo feels comfortable talking to her. But Katy was not sure what was going to happen.
Got it.
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I totally knew it was going to happen. But I do want to say something from the previous question. I would be on an improv team with this woman in a heartbeat because I know, especially on stage in improv, it's like on a battlefield, and I'm backed up, and I know that, and I feel that, and that's why I think we have that between Lily and Uggo as well, is because you're getting a sense of a deeper thing that Katy and I have as individuals, which is we trust each other, and it's easy to do that when when we're lining up to do our intros, we're constantly cutting up trying to make each other laugh because it's her and then it's Uggo and then everyone, so it's fun. We all do that, but with Katy and I, it's been just real easy from day one.
So even outside of the game, the proverbial "I got your back, Lily Uggo saddle" thing would exist.
Of course, absolutely it would.
Very cool.
There's not a physical saddle outside of the game.
Right. Well, and also if you look,
if
I don't know if you guys
film
noticed.
it and put it online.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but in terms of actual sizes of characters, it's pretty much right on.
Yeah, I'm 3'3". The camera is deceptive.
And I'm 6'5".
Yes, and I weigh 35 pounds.
And I weigh 315 pounds.
In Hollywood, they say lie about your weight. So
perfect, job done.
35 pounds.
Yeah. Highly castable.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we're talking about some of the more fun moments, but there were some really emotional moments in this episode too. Yeah. Katy, how did it feel inviting these people that, yes, you've been through a lot with, but only really known for 2 weeks, to your family mausoleum in a remembrance ceremony for all of your ancestors? Was that weird to invite strangers and non-Bingle inhabitants into that world for you?
No, I think it was bittersweet. As I kind of said earlier, this is not how I wanted them to see Bingle, and how I have described Bingle as this jovial place, and then having them see it as a war zone, basically, and tattered, and the disheartened nature of my family. I think was more vulnerable for Lily, but I think Lily felt very proud to show them that because they had helped save this island.
Got it.
So it was like, that is a sweet reward, because that is a very sacred, special thing. I hadn't done it. I think I'd done it like once. Lily's done it once in her life, done that walk,
Yeah.
It's not like a common thing we did.
Got it.
So I think it felt good because there's no way Bingle can repay these adventurers for putting their lives on the line. And Lily, I think, did feel not guilty because she wanted to go back, but knew that it was a big ask to say, hey, we're going to turn this ship around and go save my family right now,
Yeah.
Which it wasn't a big ask. Because as soon as she was like, I'd like to turn the ship around and go to, and we're all like, Bingo! Let's go! Let's do it! Like, we had no question whatsoever. We were all on board.
Yes, it's the first time in a battle though where Lily's made the
Yes.
call, I think, as far as her
Absolutely.
going as an
Absolutely.
adventurer. Like
Yes.
that's the first time she's ever been like, this is what we're doing in a battle.
I'm just identifying
Yeah.
that outside of what Lily thinks of herself. The rest of us were like, and in fact, we even have a conversation where like, if he says no, it's happening. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
We're making it happen
We're making
anyway.
it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't think that felt too vulnerable. I think it felt like a nice way to seal up this sad chapter, I guess, of like, we did this thing, we triumphed in a way, and then here's how we honor it, and they should be a part of it. You know?
Yeah, and we haven't at this point, up until now in this episode, talked about, speaking of honoring it, the Funeral Dirge.
Oh yeah.
Did you come up with that on the fly? Like what?
Oh no, I did not write that on the fly. I had that ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah, the little dirge of Bengal. I had it the week prior. I was like, when I found out my family was dead, I was like, well, we'll have to want to honor that.
Regardless of how the battle
Regardless
goes.
how the battle goes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I write the songs because I'm inspired from the episode or something like that, or it almost always happens, to be fully honest, on my way to our show that week. I'll get like, oh, I'll be thinking about it all week, and that's when inspiration will strike. So they're often like, when I get to the studio, I'll start writing them. But yeah, I wasn't sure when I was gonna sing it, but then it was perfect that we had that procession.
Yeah.
Timing was perfect.
The timing was absolutely perfect. All right, I've got a question here from Mickey Wolf 19, who really wants to know, what would the party think of meeting a hellhound?
Kill it.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think
Oh well, first Fahima,
yeah.
Hamlet.
Is the Hamlet?
Is this a Hamlet?
Lily has never seen that.
Nope, neither is Ugo.
Yeah. So I don't know. Honestly, it probably wouldn't be great.
Nope. Yeah, it's gonna be. It wouldn't be good. It would be, not good at all. Yeah.
Not good.
Lily would want to like get to the bottom of like,
Why is there
what are your
this
feelings?
thing?
Like, yeah. Like,
Not gonna talk to you. Promise, not gonna talk to you.
maybe- Listen, I charmed a robot. Okay. Under
Yeah.
very, very special circumstances.
You are very, very charming. This is a fun one. So at the end of the episode, our players upped to level 5. Yay! Raisin Brand 66 says, what fun can we expect from Uggo and Lily with level 5?
Ooh.
No spoilers, but anything you feel comfortable sharing, we would love to know.
I think I'm now the fastest in the party, even faster than Civ, but maybe, I don't know. So level 5, I get an extra attack, which is awesome,
Yeah.
and I get 10 more feet of speed. That's right, yep. 10 more feet of speed, which as an aggressive orc means bonus action 40 feet, movement of 40 feet, and if I want, an action of 40 feet. So 120 feet in a round.
Wow, that's
is
amazing.
Pretty fast. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
And normally you think bigger characters, slower moving, but not the case with Uggo.
Not with orcs, not at all.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm just as slow.
When you're in the saddle, you won't.
Yeah, so now I have your speed. But I do get level 3 spells. I
Dun,
know,
dun, dun.
yes.
I can't wait for her to be a turret, essentially. Like on the back of Uggo, in the saddle, not taking damage, just casting spells from back.
An insult turret.
just slinging insults from the back of an orc.
Yeah.
You're not stupid.
You're mocked.
stupid.
You're mocked.
I love it. So without spoiling maybe what level 3 spell that you chose, which were some that were in consideration?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm not gonna take this one, but I love the tiny hut.
Leomund's tiny.
Tell us what the tiny hut spell is.
It's basically this pop-up tent is kind of what it is, that only people invited in can go into it, and it provides safe shelter for, I don't remember how long. Do you remember how long it lasts?
I think it's a long rest.
Long rest. Yeah, so basically like provides you like a safe campsite,
Right.
no matter where
Shelter,
you are.
no
Yeah,
matter where.
Very nice.
and it felt like I was really on the fence of taking it because it felt very Lily, like hospitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna take that one. But that holds a dear place in my heart.
It's like you bring Bingle with you on all your
exactly.
adventures.
Exactly. It was like a pop-up bar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, the Dungeon Run community is the absolute best, the community that we have here. Thank you all for not only being here in the Dungeon Rundown chat tonight, but also creating some fantastic fan art over on our fandom site. So this week's images that I would like to show come from Adam P. Seal. Let's check that out. What do we got? Oh, it's so good! I love it.
A little melt
I love the character likenesses.
What I love is,
artwork.
Uggo is, he is described as black hair, top knotted. I love how Adam basically put me in Uggo because I have blonde hair with the beard. I love it. It's.
I love it. I love it so much.
I do too. I love it.
Now, are the weapons essentially kind of what you have equipped all the time, Uggo?
Yep. Hand axe there. I use that often.
Great.
And the maul, absolutely. I think that looks like the previous maul before we got it all metallic. But yeah, that's.
Out.
Yeah.
A
That's.
little tear in your pants.
Yeah.
Tear in my
Love
pants.
that
yeah.
one.
And Lily, I know it went by, but I think we can probably go back to it. Here we go. Your character design from Adam, pretty awesome.
I love. Yeah.
Is that how Lily, would you say, is Lily's normally dressed in an outfit that kind of looks like that? Or does she have other go-tos as well?
Kind of, yeah, she does have I love that she has the teal vest because that's her Bingle staple. Everyone in Bingle has that, and like when they're working, so people know that they can ask you questions. Like you're a local, so like if you're lost, you can like look for the teal vest, and then you can like ask questions. And so when she went out to adventure, she was like, I'm taking this with me because it was like her piece of home. Yeah, and then the flute. My hair's more blonde in that also than I pictured Lily, but I also love it.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell us how you envision the characters. I mean, not all of us are blessed with sketching abilities and wonderful artwork abilities. I always have that problem when I play D&D that I want to draw a picture of what my character looks like, but I'm not blessed with that skill. So how do you envision your characters, and has any of the artwork that you've seen along the journey come close?
Yes, I mean, honestly, a lot of it has been very close and and also like been like, oh yeah, that is, because I'm not a sketcher at all. So like I wrote out a verbal description of her, and then seeing it put in like different people's eyes of how they sketch it out has been really fun. Yeah. But honestly, that is what we just saw is very close. But with I picture she has strawberry blonde hair, and I have in my description she was wearing like kind of like a teal vest with like a white, not a dress, but like a white under situation.
Okay.
But freckles and under situation.
Under situation.
The official.
I'm gonna start a brand called Under Situation. That's just liners for dresses. Under situation.
Perfect.
Did you get your under situation? Yeah. You better believe I did.
It sounds like something you shouldn't ask someone, honestly. Like, do not ask about their under situation.
With the under situation.
Okay.
I literally went off the rails with my description. Ron, take it away.
I am blown away by the art of our community.
Yeah, agreed.
And in a way, the community itself has been so accepting and loving that I've been even diving back into the community myself, doing an AMA on Discord, the Caffeine Discord on Thursday, in fact.
Yay!
Where you could be able to ask me anything kind of thing. I'll go, we'll have a conversation over a phone thing. So I love that the fan base, it's really humbling when something that you love and are proud of inspires someone else to make a thing that they love and are proud of.
Yeah.
I think that's the human experience.
Yeah.
Creation.
Well, and
storytelling,
it's
art.
Building upon the story that everyone is telling on the Dungeon Run, but in the fandom community. So thank you guys, and please keep that art coming. Unfortunately, there's only a few minutes left for this week's stream of Dungeon Run, but fear not. Take a look at Civ's selfless moment on the battlefield right now.
I take out my bow, knock an arrow, and I'll look at you and say, I'm about ready to do something incredibly stupid. I hope you can heal me afterwards.
Okay.
And then
at least you're honest with yourself about what you're doing.
I'm going to do a combo of, this is so dumb. Combo of Forces of Good. One of them is the Ultimate Ultimatum by Beowulf, is who bought it. On attack of my choice, instead of rolling to hit, you may choose to automatically do an awesome or a crit, but you also take half of the damage.
Whoa. I hear a lot of dice in there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be taking a lot of damage as well.
Um,
You said 29. Whew. Okay.
Wow.
So, infused with the magic of the amulet, you notch an arrow and you pull it back. You let it go, soaring through the air past the wall of fire, parting the flames as it cuts through, and it slams right into the mouth of this thing, the back of his head. It screams, and all of the creatures scream. It's not dead.
Oh,
It's not
damn.
dead. They all scream. They all feel it. They all scream.
Nice one.
The arrow in its mouth, it moves its head back down, reaches up with a tentacled hand, grabs the arrow. When taking damage, the copper may use its reaction to do a psionic retaliation.
Oh,
It has to
snap.
do it to something in its melee range, which would be Uggo. You feel this mental burst come out of its head, and all the creatures around go, ah! And Uggo, even you feel this radiating out of it, and it hurts you physically.
Sounds like you're in trouble.
You took 14 points of damage.
Ow.
Yeah.
You start peeling. That slice that you had that still hasn't healed even opens up and blood starts coming out. It hurts. It hurts. That was awesome.
That was so intense. I honestly thought this is how Civ dies. We're gonna watch this happen right now. I see I am Robin Nicole in chat says, love Civ, and Shady Sheba says, on a scale of 1 to stupid, that was a Civ. I mean, did you guys think we were actually, Civ was actually in mortal peril at this point?
Maybe, yeah, because he can do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it was a scary thing.
Civ is often in mortal peril. Yeah. So
Okay,
it's a thing that that Uggo comes to expect.
Good thing he's got the rest of you guys.
Absolutely.
So the last question, and we'll answer this real quick because I know we're almost out of time, but looking forward, predictions moving forward, do you think that Bingle ultimately was a distraction from your main quest, or maybe part of the larger story somehow?
Good question.
Side quest or main quest adjacent?
Yeah, I honestly think main quest adjacent.
I agree.
I feel like there's too many similarities with the things that happens, and like, yeah, it felt adjacent to me. It felt like it was tied
The
in.
more and more we do this, the more and more I feel like there's an unnatural order that is the opposite of the natural order. It's because they talk about somebody leading and making, it's like they're creating things. First it was robots, now it seems to be aberrations or monstrosities.
Yeah.
Where it looks like that to me, where it's like there's an unnatural order as opposed to the natural order. I don't know if that's the case or not. That's just Ron looking for, ooh, that would be cool. That would be fun. So.
Yeah.
That would be cool, and I like that theory.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, it has been another hour full of insider scoop, all about your favorite characters and moments from the Dungeon Run. A ginormous thank you to this evening's in-studio guests and game players, Katy Michels, woo, and Ron Ogden, woo.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
And of course, a huge thank you to you, our loyal watchers of the time stream. Tune in each and every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for an exciting new episode of Dungeon Rundown. To get ready for another stupendous episode of Dungeon Run, streaming live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Caffeine. I'm your host, Trisha Hershberger, and this is the Dungeon Rundown. Good night. Thank you, guys. This was great.
Thank you.